Well, welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today for the Better Business Bureau right here in Southern Wisconsin. It's our friend Tiffany Schultz. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm getting ready to send my kids back to school.
Yes, and you're helping us out all this month with back to school tips. Each week, we're going to talk to you about different things that get you ready for school, get your kids prep for school, whether they're going to kindergarten 4K all the way to the college student. We've got tips here, and we're going to start today with tips to avoid ID theft on campus. ID theft. It's bigger than, because we've talked about it so many times in different ways, but it's definitely something when you just get into college, it's like probably the last thing you're thinking about as a college student. But everybody's susceptible to ID theft.
Right. We're all susceptible. We're all vulnerable, and we need to keep our personal documents secure. And that starts with your personal mail. You know, you're moving into a dorm. Maybe the mailboxes aren't as secure as they should be. Maybe more people have access. If you're living with roommates, you know, your mail goes on the table. You don't know who is taking that mail, who has access to the mail. You want to keep your personal mail, your sensitive mail secure. And that might mean sending it to your home mailbox. If you can send it to your parents' house, it's a really secure means rather than using a mailbox that's on campus or just, you know, having a roommate bring in the mail and leaving it on the kitchen table. So really think about where your mail is going.
This next one's interesting because I wouldn't even have thought about it, but storing your important documents safely. If you're staying at a house with multiple people in it and you leave that bank statement out, you never know.
Right. That includes your bank statement, your social security card, your passport, your driver's license, all of those documents. You want to keep those secure. Do you have a safe in your dorm room or in the home that you're renting? Another idea is to send them back to your parents' house. You're likely not going to need your passport on campus. You can send your banking statements, get them delivered digitally. That's a whole nother can of worms there. If they're being delivered digitally, you want to make sure that you have secure access to them too, and that nobody has your password. So really think about how you're receiving those documents and where you're storing those documents. And when you're done with those documents, it's super important if they're in paper form that they get shredded. We have an upcoming shredding event in September, so watch for more details. You can shred your sensitive documents completely for free.
Yeah, it's such a good thing to do. It goes right along with recycling too. So there's a lot of events like that around. Next one, and this gets a little bit easier, but also I'll ask you a side question when you're talking about moving money digitally, because there's still some risk in that too. But borrowing that debit card or credit card or whatever, so somebody can go and buy something for you, probably not a good idea.
Don't give your friend or roommate your debit card to go pick up the pizza. Don't borrow that sensitive information out. You want to treat it exactly like cash. Only keep it to yourself. Don't share PIN numbers. Don't share cards. If your card does get compromised, you want to make sure that you contact your bank immediately to get a replacement. But super important to keep that locked up too. Don't leave it on the kitchen table. Put it in a safe when you're not using it.
Yeah, I guess that's what every college. I guess we'll put it away. No, it's a really good thing. And the secondary question of that is if you're thinking about using Venmo or something, there is some risk to that too. So definitely know what you're using, know the terms to using those transfer of money accounts. Correct.
Digital wallets are super convenient, easy way to share checks, easy way to transfer money between roommates, possibly for rent, for groceries, you go out for drinks or dinner, but it does come with some risk. So there's certain things that you can do to keep yourself safe. I always like to say, if you're going to use Venmo, set up a separate account and put a small amount of money in that account to use for Venmo, because if it does get compromised, you're not dealing with possibly losing a few $1,000s into another account. You should also turn off the public feed. Scammers like to go ahead and look at that public feed and entice you and try to impose as your friend to get you to send money to them. So be very careful when you're using those money transfer apps.
Yeah, it's like another way to like give out free money there. You got to be careful about that for sure. Next one is watching for phishing. You kind of mentioned a little bit about it. We've got scammers out there watching for anything and everything, but we know college students are a direct target of phishing scams.
We get lots of emails every day. And as a college student, you're probably going to be issued an email with a .edu address. And unfortunately, bad emails do get through. Phishing emails get through once in a while. And there's imposters that pose as national retailers. It looks legitimate. It sounds legitimate. If you look at the email, it may have the company logo in it, and it's asking you to click on a link. Before you go ahead and click on any link, you want to make sure that the email is legitimate. And you can start by checking in the email address box. If it's coming from the retailer, it's going to have a retailer address. It's not going to have something like 123 456.com or something like that. So that's the first thing to do. But hover over that link, see where it actually goes. If it's going to a site that you don't recognize, don't click on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one too, kind of follows some of those same lines. And better protecting yourself with up-to-date antivirus and spy software. Again, you might not have your parents doing this anymore for you, or whatever the case may be. You want to keep these things up to date because you'll be open to identity theft in different ways if you don't protect yourself.
We live in a digital world. We have our phones on us all the time. I mean, my computer just dinged in right now. It has, and it's not an update. It's just a news story, but we get updates all the time on our devices, and it wants us to go ahead and download those. And you know what? They can be pesky. Oh, I don't have time to deal with that right now. That's going to take 10 minutes of my time. I really got to get this done. It's super important that you take that update as soon as it's available, because it's going to have patches and security apps in there that are meant to secure your device more so than they have been in the past. So take those updates as soon as you can.
Finally, double checking, you say check your credit and debit card statements. Why is that so important?
If scammers get a hold of your debit or credit card, they can easily go ahead and charge things, and they'll show up on your bank account. They'll show up on that piece of paper that you get or your digital listing. So many people don't check their bank statements every month. And it's important that you do, because scammers are banking that you don't. They don't want you to see those charges. And it might be $20 here, $50 there, and you're not aware of it. Oh, you look at your bank balance and it looks like it should be, but it may not be what it should be. So make sure that you're going over those bank statements, either digitally or paper version, with a fine tooth comb, and that every transaction on there should be on there.
All right, Tiffany, some great information. If people want to learn more, to share tips with their family members, friends, whomever, where can they learn and find more?
Head on over to bbb.org.
All right, Tiffany, thank you so much. We're going to check back with you again next week on some more back to school tips, tricks, and more. So appreciate your time. We'll see you then.
Thanks for having me.